Here in this unit, we want to explore how educators are bringing design thinking into schools so that students can be ready for the kind of work that we do here at MIT.
Design thinking is a powerful tool because it teaches the students agency. It gives them the ability to solve real-world problems. We can teach them the content, but if we don't give them time to practice solving problems, they won't look at themselves as problem solvers.
Design thinking is a process. It's a way of thinking about solving a problem that allows for creativity and collaboration. It's a way to look at a problem from different perspectives, to brainstorm solutions, and think about different key aspects that we're going to implement to try to solve that problem, and then to assess whether or not it worked and start over.
Each of the schools featured is at a different stage in their own journey with design thinking. Some of the schools and programs we visit are starting their journey with a one-off design challenge, and others have infused design into after-school programs or a designated design class.
We're running a PD session for a select group of Banneker staff members to think about the design thinking process and ways to bring one specific stage into their classrooms. We've decided to focus on prototyping. In developing the PD session, we wanted to make it hands-on for the teachers so that they could experience prototyping as students and then spend part of that time planning on how to bring it into the classroom from a teacher's point of view. A visual prototype is a sketch that helps articulate your ideas. And so for the BioSketch unit, students were already thinking about timelines to explain the major events in a character's life. And so we thought, why not bring visual prototyping in at this stage, because students love to draw, and unfortunately there are very few opportunities for them to do that in the classroom. So rather than write out a timeline with specific events and dates, instead they had to translate that same content into visual images that then could be shared with their classmates.
It feels like the design thinking process goes down some wandering paths, and we as teachers don't really know where it's going to go or how long it's going to take. So we're having to kind of step back and take a little bit of a risk with it. At the same time, we all know that if kids are only having a superficial experience with the curriculum, they're not going to be learning it anyway.
So the BIRD project is how we kick off the year in 6th grade life science. It's a project that lasts from September through Thanksgiving. It involves 6th graders in pairs working to interview their junior kindergarten buddies. We have a buddy system here at Meadowbrook, so those are grade levels that would see each other throughout the year and develop relationships with one another. The 6th graders interview their JKers, and simultaneously in science class, they're learning the basic ornithology of 4 key bird species on campus. They're going out with binoculars, they're observing them, they're reading about them, and they are becoming experts on just these 4 species that we find on campus. At the same time, they're also becoming, hopefully, experts on the junior kindergartners, and they're using those 2 pieces of sort of understanding information and the needs of the junior kindergartners to design something for the junior kindergartners that bring alive their excitement about Meadowbrook's birds.
The most challenging part about the bird project was probably going from prototype to prototype, because we had these ideas, but we didn't know how to make it so that they would work the way that we wanted them to and still teach the JKers enough.
They came up with about 4 real prototypes that were tried with the junior kindergarten, and we had a little festival where the junior kindergarten played with the toys at the very end, and they're actually using them in the classroom right now as part of the bird unit that the junior kindergarten has in midwinter.
At the start of a project at Newview, we generally start out by sketching things. So we take out a sketchbook, we take out a pencil, and we draw an idea for one potential solution to whatever problem we're being presented with.
A prototype is a version of a project or a manifestation of an idea that is not necessarily fully formed. So you could have very basic prototypes and very advanced prototypes. And at Newview, we really push the basic prototypes early on, that we say to the students, your first prototype should be ugly and it doesn't need to work. But it needs to suggest the way that it is going to look and the way that it is going to work. So a prototype can really be some cardboard and tape in some form that has some sort of motion to it, let's say. As the students move forward, they develop more and more sophisticated prototypes. So each prototype is a refinement of the previous prototype. So when we talk about the iterative process, at the end of each iteration or micro iteration, there's a new prototype. And at the end of the studio, given our 2-week studios, the students have an advanced prototype. They don't necessarily have the thing, right? If they spent another 4 weeks on it, they might have the actual thing. But ultimately, a prototype is a design that's expressing some of its full potential, but not all of it yet.
Every day here, when the students are coming up with an idea or with a design decision, we are questioning them about why they decided to do it this way and why they did not do it some other way. And this is, in so many ways, I feel what at the core of what design thinking is this ability to kind of, at any given kind of moment where you have to make a design decision, you have to cycle through many ways of seeing, and you have to make a judgment on the best way to go.
The design thinking process as a whole and the skills that comprise it aren't brand new. We hope that as you as educators will recognize that there's plenty of overlap with the work that you already do in your classrooms. When students are learning about a historical event or reading a novel, they're discovering details about users and context. Science classrooms and robotics clubs are filled with prototyping and trying out ideas.
Bringing the design thinking process into your school and into your classroom is messy, and it takes time, and there will be trials and failures, and you will get it right some days, and other days you'll feel like you've bombed it. That's the reality of teaching, I think, in general, but the design thinking process is an optimistic belief that we can make solutions that improve the world as we see it today. And if we can equip our students to think that way and to act that way, we're really setting them up for future success.